Morning there, YouTube. Walking you through the polish of a Mosin Bolt. Now, that's your firing pin. All I did with that was I took it, chucked it up in the drill, took some 4/0 steel wool, spun it at a very high speed and just cleaned up around this. That helped real good. I didn't polish it, I didn't attack it with polishing cloth or rags. I just used the 4/0 steel wool. And that was the only thing I touched on both the bolt body and the firing pin. I didn't mess with the new spring or anything like that. This knob right here is what's called cocking knob. Right here in the face, I laid down some 1000 grit sandpaper on a flat surface and ran this across that sandpaper. Then I took my Dremel with the polishing wheel, the felt wheel. I threw some mother's mag on there, I let that dry, and then I just buffed that off. I kept doing that a couple of different times, and that has turned out real nice. Now, as far as my trigger goes, I'm going to try to get it up there for you to see. But right up in here, that area, I'm going to try to get maybe a glimpse of it on camera. I chucked it. You got a little jeweler's vise, and I put the trigger down in. I hooked that up to my table, and then I just took a piece of 1000 grit sandpaper and that took a few minutes. I mean, it was no more than 5, no less than maybe 3. I mean, it wasn't that long. Like I said, tearing down the rifle was the most in-depth part I had to do on this. As for my sear, I hit that in 2 spots. On this face here, and right in here. Some say you don't have to go that high with it. I did. I just used 1000 grit sandpaper, a polishing wheel, and a little mother's bag on those surfaces. You don't want to use a heavy sandpaper or a grinder. I wouldn't take it much past 1000 grit on the sandpaper. You could go to 60, 80, but it's not necessary. Sticking the higher ends. They're not trying to remove any metal. You're just trying to buff and polish what is there. And that was the whole entirety of it. Like I said, that's the bits of sandpaper. It was scrap sandpaper I used. I cut off from other projects that worked. That's just a mix of it. I keep a little bag like that in case I need just a little bit of sandpaper. But it turned out decent. far as my Dremel went, it's a Poplo El Cheapo off of Amazon, and that is the polishing wheel I used. I think it was a little bit bigger than that when I started out. But I hooked it to the part that where you drive the screw through. I know they make several different. They got the one with the teeth you can turn it down onto. I went with that because I wanted to really hold on to that. That buffing pad, because I've seen a few where they got kicked off and the guy had to go chase them down. I didn't have any. Like I said, the whole shebang. The face here. The piece that makes the contact. The piece that makes the contact with the trigger. Inside the trigger itself up in here. And the face here. That makes a contact with the sear. We're talking maybe 15 minutes. And to get them all in what I call a polish zone. Then for kicks and giggles throughout the rest of the day to kill time, I just hit them again lightly with the buffing wheel. Mother's mag, guys use flits. I didn't drown the part and I didn't drown the pad in it. It's just me. I'm sitting there using this stuff, and I seen one guy, he's got a rooster tail of the flits, and I'm like, then he goes back and instead of picking the flits up off the table that he slung 60 feet, he goes back and dips the part in flits. If that's your bag, hey, run with it. That's your, yeah. There's easier, cleaner ways to do this stuff. In a sense, I've seen people attack these bolt bodies, make them slicker than whale snot. I know a guy, I watched him on YouTube. He polished the inside here and this ledge here. And he also did this rim here on his rifle. Yes, I guess with the cocking that would help. I've also known some to take down a little bit off the end so it cocks a little easier. I didn't do any of that. I just kept it simple. I want to keep it as close to stock and factory as I can. Minotaur's High Point Production. Remember, you choose, therefore you are responsible. I'll choose, I'll be responsible. And when you're working on your firearms, whatever you do, that's on you. I am by no means a licensed gunsmith. I do have the certification behind it. It hangs on the wall behind me. It's one of those 2 diplomas that hang up there. But I'm not licensed. And what I learned, like I said, was YouTube. But before I took on this job, I watched as many videos as I could and made an informed decision of what I would like to have happen with my rifle. Now, when we get this done and get it together, we'll give it a drop test to make sure I didn't take off any metal, but all I did was polish. So, bear in mind, what you do is on you. Just a quick walkthrough on the areas where to polish your Mosin bolt and your Mosin firing pin. to get it. To where it doesn't sound like it's chittering. Where it's smooth. Before I went to end with, you know, you choose, therefore you are responsible. I'll choose, I'll be responsible. This has been a Taurus High Point production. Remember, gunsmithing is serious business. If you choose to take on this and do it yourself, put in the research behind it. That's all anyone could ask. I watched a kid on YouTube. He's got a problem with his trigger now. He took off too much metal. And I'll show you where. From the face here. But if you take off some metal here, that may re-engage your sear up here. But you have to take metal off down here to get it to re-engage. These two pieces will meet in the rifle. And he took too much metal off his face. And now he's got like this, he sneezes around his rifle and the trigger goes off. You'll have to take a little metal from here if you do that. But from here to re-engage. But if you're going to go through all that, you might as well just order a new sear. Taurus High Point production. You choose, therefore you are responsible. I'm going to go ahead and let this video end. Thank you.